Hey guys, it's Andy Coleman, and a big trend going on right now is Airbnb arbitrage, which is basically just Airbnb except you're renting the property, not buying it. So there's a lot of benefits to renting the property instead of buying it right now if you're trying to do Airbnb. Because as everybody knows, Airbnb is extremely popular right now. It's kind of taken over the hotel industry, so everybody's kind of leaning towards going the Airbnb route instead of going to a hotel. Now, typically in my opinion, this works best if you do a single family house as opposed to a townhome or a condo because, everybody likes the idea of going into a single family house with a pool. Maybe it's right near the beach or downtown. That kind of thing is a little bit more exciting than actually renting out some kind of like apartment or condo or townhouse. So as a realtor, I work with a lot of clients right now that are doing Airbnb arbitrage. I do at least 5 of these per month on average right now. And all of my clients are telling me right now, hey, I'm probably earning close to $2,500 per month on average. That's a lot of income per property that they own. His good months, he would probably bring in right around $5K, and a bad month, he might only bring around $1,000. Fast forward 9 months later, and he has about 5 Airbnb properties now, and that old beat up Toyota Camry transformed into a brand new Z06 Corvette. It goes to show you that if you actually get a lot of Airbnbs, you can really move up very fast and start making a lot of money really quickly. So that's definitely one thing that you want to consider. Do you want to buy the property to do Airbnb at the property, or do you want to rent it? Now, of course, Airbnb arbitrage, that's mainly when you're renting the properties. That's what arbitrage stands for. So if you're doing Airbnb arbitrage, you're going to be wanting to rent the properties. Obviously, if you purchase the properties, you're going to make more money in the long run, but it's going to be a lot more money up front. If you're doing arbitrage and you're renting the properties, you're only doing first, last, and security to move into the property. So let's just say you're doing a $4,000 a month rental. That's only $12,000 to move in. If you get it furnished, then you don't even have to spend any money on furnishings as well. A lot of these properties that you're going to be trying to rent, you're going to want to do them furnished. Also, if you're renting it, you're not going to be spending those major maintenance costs that the owner's going to have to do. If you're renting the property, it's going to be like a normal rental typically, where you're going to be paying for anything under $150, $200 per month. The small things like the light bulbs and the air filters, all the minor things you pay for as a normal tenant. And then anything major, like if the AC breaks or if there's a leak in the roof, the owner of the property has to pay for it. So yeah, you might think that if you buy the property, you're going to make a lot more money, and you will in the long run, but in the short term, you'll make a little bit more because you're not going to have to deal with any major maintenance costs. So it's definitely worth it to do this if you want to rent out properties and then put them up on Airbnb. You're going to be looking for right around a 70-80% occupancy rate. Anything lower than that, and you might not make any money at all. You might end up breaking even or even losing money. So you have to pick your property very, very wisely. So to start on how to do this, the very specifics of how to do Airbnb arbitrage, you first have to find the home. Most areas, the landlord pays the realtor commission. It's usually half a month rent to each side. The landlord will pay their realtor half a month's rent. Then the tenant's realtor, the landlord will pay them half a month's rent. So if you own a property and you're renting it out, typically you're going to be doing about 1 month's rent commission, and you're splitting that between each brokerage. So as a tenant, if you're looking for a property, it makes sense to get a realtor that knows what they're talking about and knows what they're doing. They'll guide you in the right direction, and they'll make the process very easy and smooth. Then the next step is going to be finding the area that you want to do it in. Now, this is extremely important. You want to find a location where it's really good for travel, like a destination spot. So you're going to typically want to do it by the beach or by a downtown area. You typically don't want to put it out in the middle of nowhere. Now, I know a lot of people do have success putting it out in the middle of the woods, so you have that kind of like going camping experience. Now, that does work too, but typically, obviously, you want to stay towards a more populated destination vacation type area. So you have to get a permit to do this. So you're going to have to go to your city or town hall eventually, and you're going to have to pull a permit to actually be able to legally Airbnb and list it legally. I recommend you stick to at least a 3-bedroom property. Obviously, the more bedrooms, the better. Minimum 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and you're going to want to do it in a very highly populated area that's known for travel, as I said before. And you typically are going to want to make sure it's a pool home. So pool homes go for a little bit more on Airbnb, and they're more highly desirable. So you're going to have a higher % occupancy rate when you're listing it on Airbnb. If you can find a property that's fully furnished before you move in, that's obviously going to save you a tremendous amount of money. If you have to fully furnish a place, that could be anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 in furnishings, depending on how nice of furnishings that you want to buy. You're typically going to want to do a 1-year lease at the very minimum. Here in Florida, we basically do 1-year leases. If you can get a 2 or 3 multi-year lease, obviously that might be a little bit better because you can lock yourself in at a cheaper rate, but typically landlords don't like doing that. They only like doing 1-year leases. Don't do anything lower than 1 year though. You're going to be paying way too much money, and then you're going to be setting up this whole operation for the potential to lose it if the owner doesn't want to renew their lease. And for the price of the property, I would say anywhere from $4,000 to $8,000 here in South Florida. That's typically going to be your sweet spot. The more expensive rental that you get, typically the more money you're going to be able to charge on Airbnb, and your profits are going to be a little bit higher. The whole goal to doing this is getting multiple Airbnb properties. You're not going to get rich off of one Airbnb. You might start making a little bit of side money, a little bit of cash flow coming in off one Airbnb, but the whole goal is to stack them up. You want to have 5, 10, 15, 20 different properties. So let's just say on average, you're making $2,500 per month per property. If you have 10 properties, now you're bringing in $25,000 in net income per month. So now that you know a little bit about the criteria of what you kind of want for your Airbnb rental, you want to crunch the numbers and make sure it works for you. So you want to find properties and then go and crunch all of the numbers, make sure that each individual property works for you. Then you're going to want to start putting in offers. I don't recommend going to see the property first. You at the very least want to reach out to the owner or have your realtor reach out to the owner of the property and then make sure they're going to allow you to do Airbnb and they'll lease out the property to you. You don't want to spend all that time going and looking at dozens of properties first before you know if the owner will actually select you or not. That's just a complete waste of time. So what I have my clients do is we fill out a credit background eviction report, rental application. We do their proof of income, their picture of their driver's license. I write up a contract to lease for each property, and I put in dozens of offers. Eventually, a landlord will say yes and they'll accept them for the property. Typically, the odds on this is about 1 out of every 10 landlords will say yes. Sometimes it could be 1 out of every 15, but I find on average, for every 10 offers we put in, 1 landlord will say yes. So your success rate is typically around 10%. So a way to actually increase those odds is by doing special things in your offer. You might want to offer a double security deposit. So typically it's going to be first, last, and security to move into the property. So you might want to offer first, last, and a double security. If you offer a double security, it's going to make the owner feel a little bit more secured in renting out their property to you. Typically, owners are going to want families to move into their properties. They're not really going to be looking for people doing Airbnb because that's going to add a lot of liability. So you really want to incentivize them and sweeten the pot a little bit. So offering a double security is definitely going to help out in getting the owners to pick you. Also, you can add extra money per month for rent. So instead of doing, let's say, $4,000 per month for rent, maybe offer them an extra $200 per month and offer them $4,200 per month. I would write up a letter to the landlord kind of explaining your situation and telling them what you're going to want to do with their property and what kind of experience you have doing this. Maybe you have multiple Airbnbs, so you have a little portfolio that you can send to the owner. Maybe you have references that you can send, like you have previous landlords that you're working with currently, and then they can write a little reference letter for you. Or you have a business plan where you can show the owner, this is exactly what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to do it. This is when I'm going to do it. This is how much money I'm going to be profiting. These are my goals that I'm doing. Now, once you do all of this, you're going to want to include your sublease addendum because you're going to be subleasing or subletting out the property to Airbnb guests. So you're going to want to have a sublease addendum as well. You could also put this in your LLC's name. If you have a business, you could put this in your business's name. I do suggest going in initially under your name, and then maybe for the lease agreement, you can add in your LLC, or you can just switch it over just to your LLC. The owner's going to feel more comfortable if you do it under your name because a business doesn't typically have a credit or a background. You know, a lot of times if it's a new business, it doesn't even have proof of income. So doing it under your name to start, it will make the owner feel a little bit more comfortable. And then once you get an owner to accept your offer, all you typically have to do is put 1 month's rent down as a deposit. And then when you move into the property, that's when you bring last and security. Or if you're doing a second security, that's when you bring the remaining 3 months. So the cost of doing this is relatively cheap. You might only be spending around $12,000 for each Airbnb property that you get. So if you have $100,000, it might be wiser to rent out like 8 Airbnb properties as rentals as opposed to doing down payments and purchasing 3 homes. Once you're fully accepted and you know you actually want the property, you've crunched the numbers, the owner said yes, you said yes, everything's working. Now you sign a lease agreement and then you do your deposit. So once you do your deposit and you have your lease agreement in place, go to City Hall and then have them run the inspection because you got to get your permit. Once you get the inspector to come out there, they'll either pass or fail you. And the inspectors are typically looking for basic things like, are the fire alarms working? Is there a carbon monoxide detector? Do all the doors work? Is there any fire safety hazards? Like little things like that. That's what the inspectors are typically looking for. You can go to your city halls and you can ask them exactly for a checklist. So this way you can specify to the owner what you want in working order before the inspector actually comes out there. Typically, the inspections run around $250 to get your permit, and it'll take about 1 to 2 weeks on average. At this point, once you have your permit and the lease is done, deposit's done, now all you're doing is basically sitting back and waiting for the move-in date. So once your move-in date comes, all you do is you meet the owner and your realtors at the property, if you have realtors, and then you just exchange the final months. Like I said before, it could be 3 months if you're doing a double security deposit, or it could just be last in security at this point. So you bring the final move-in funds and then you walk through the entire property, make sure everything's looking good, and then if everything's okay, you give them the final move-in funds for the keys. Now, at this point, you can choose to put the property on Airbnb now, or you could have put it on Airbnb a couple weeks before. As you're doing the permitting process, if you're confident that everything's going to go smoothly, maybe at this point you want to put it on Airbnb. Or if you want to play it safe, you can wait until you get the keys and you get your permit, then you can list it on Airbnb. If the property has already been fully furnished, you'll already probably use the listing pictures from the listing agent, and you can probably use those for the Airbnb, or you might have to take new pictures if it wasn't furnished, or if you didn't like the pictures, then you take your own pictures and you could use those for Airbnb. Now, your typical monthly expenses for this are going to be pretty small. It's not going to be anything too significant. It's typically going to be your water bill, your electric bill, your internet and cable bill, and your lawn care, and if you have a pool, your pool maintenance. Those are going to be your 5 major expenses. Yes, you might have to change things like light bulbs and air filters, but those are relatively small. Any major expense, if you're doing Airbnb arbitrage, meaning you're renting it out from the landlord, they're going to pay any of the major expenses like the air conditioner breaks or there's a hole in the roof or anything like that. Any kind of major expense that you didn't cause that's like normal wear and tear from the property, the owner of the property is going to actually be paying those. So you can bring in around $10,000 in gross per month, but with your rent and all of your expenses and utility costs that I just mentioned, you might only make about $2,000 to $5,000 in profit per month, depending on the month, depending whether you're in season. At this point, if you do have a ton of properties, maybe you have 10 or 20 properties and you have another job that you're working at, or you're doing this part-time, you might want to consider bringing in a property manager. They'll take about 10% of the monthly rent price. So if it's worth it for you and you think you can actually make more money doing something else and you want to give a property manager that 10% to manage the property, maybe it's worth it for you to hire a property manager to actually manage all of your Airbnbs. So basically that's everything I learned over the past few years as one of the top realtors in the country, and specifically focusing on Airbnb for a lot of clients. Typically from my experiences, my clients are having a lot of positive successes. They're not dealing with a lot of issues, and overall they're having very, very positive experiences and they're making a ton of money. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button. Definitely subscribe if you're not already subscribed. If you have any kind of questions at all, I'm going to be in the comment section responding to each and everybody's comments. You can also follow me on Instagram. It's going to be down right over there. I'm going to be dropping a video 3 times a week, Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and I'll catch everybody in the next one. All right, that was pretty good.